Was on the field today. Do you have a timeline for when he might be back to full health?
Yeah, I think it's just going to depend on how quickly he progresses. We have a plan to give him more every single day, but we're going to have to get some feedback from him at how it's feeling, and we just don't want to have any more setbacks.
I see athletic tape on his calf. Is it a calf situation?
Yeah, I mean, it's the leg. It's from the injury, that he had in Ottawa. So I don't know I'm not a doctor, you know that, man. I mean, I don't know the specifics, but it's from that injury.
Do you anticipate him being ready week 1?
I do. I anticipate him getting more reps every day, and unless there's a problem. So I thought he threw the ball well today.
Is there such thing as load management in training camp for a guy like that?
100%, especially for our older players, our bigger players. You got to kind of keep an eye on them. Guys that have come off injury, like we talked about with McGriff the other day, you just have to it's a quick camp, so it's a fine line between getting them enough reps to be ready for the season and then, making sure they're healthy for that. So we'll keep an eye on it.
Speaking of one of the big guys, Joel had some injury issues last year.
Mm-hmm.
How are you managing him in this camp?
Yeah, I mean, we're just going to monitor it as we go. And really, honestly, nowadays, I'm listening to the doctors and the training staff. And I really rely on them to tell me when they're ready, and then rely on the players' feedback to tell us, how they're feeling once they start getting back into practice.
At that spot you had at the tackles there, there's a couple of guys with experience. Jordan, of course, and there's also an interesting guy we loved, the guy that played offensive line basically through most of his college on
The defensive line. Yeah.
Defensive line.
You talking about Bordner?
Yeah.
No, we got a couple of good guys that are new to the team that have the ability to play tackles. So that's another one that's, it's going to be a good battle for us.
Is that one of the? Is he one of those guys that you'd be looking at as a project, maybe? I mean, just because he
I
doesn't
don't.
play that much,
I wouldn't classify him as a project. Yeah, he's pretty polished with what he's doing right now.
When it comes to battles, we've got Bailey. We got the Flint back. That creates
Sure.
some interesting situations.
Yeah. I mean, the best guy's going to win that job, and it's good to have options. So both guys with some experience.
He looked good last year, I felt.
Yeah.
How did you feel?
I agree. No, I did. I thought he did look good. Yeah.
So what have you seen from Powell so far?
Yeah. I mean, I got to watch practice. He's certainly more confident. His leadership. He knows he belongs now, and there's something to be said for that. He made a couple plays today that I thought were outstanding. He made one that I was pretty upset with him about early in camp. You should ask him about it. Yeah, I mean, he's improving, and I'm not going to get into specifics, but I'm really trying hard to get him some things that I think he needs to work on, that we didn't have time to work on last year, just to kind of elevate his game even more.
Scott, how will Jared Bain's coaching role evolve through camp, knowing the kind of relationship that he built with you last season and what his role will be this year?
Yeah, again, with JB, has aspirations to be an offensive coordinator, highly intelligent. I think we see the game similarly. What he needs is exposure to the quarterback room, and you can only get that through reps. So he and I will work closely. I really wanted to free him up from doing some of the other tasks that he had to do last year to be able to help me game plan a little bit more. And, he's going to be somebody, he and Gibby are going to be the two I rely on the most probably offensively.
I'm not going to relate your situation in Montreal to his because you were a pro quarterback coming in and you worked with Mark. And Mark, in that time, you were able to kind of build into your coach yourself. But how do you take that experience and what you learned with Mark and apply it to JB, someone who has aspirations not unlike what you did?
Yeah, I think there's some similarities. Any of us former players come into coaching thinking we have all the answers, and I was no exception. And we've got a number of former players on the staff and some that are new coaches. So the thing that Mark really taught me was the process, the detail, just the things that you don't think about in terms of on-the-field coaching, just the organization of making sure you guys have everything they can have to be successful. Those were all things that in addition to learning, his version of the West Coast offense. But there's so much. Mark taught me how to be a head coach. I felt like I knew football. I felt like I knew quarterback play. But really, Mark was the reason I was able to become a head coach.
Did JB call any plays last year or factor into the game plan?
Well, I think the week I was out, he and Gibby worked pretty closely in the Saskatchewan game. Gibby had the hammer, I think, relative to calling the plays, but I think in the past game, JB had a lot of input there.
What does it say for a guy like you with your background coaching and quarterbacking that you're open to giving a guy who played defense at university some say in the corner?
Well, I mean, He's not getting a lot of say with the quarterbacks. let's don't get it twisted. But I am trying to get him exposure because I think he's a bright young mind, and I think he has the ability to potentially do it. And he's got to get that exposure and learn the other side of it because he didn't play. That's what makes it hard. And but there's a lot. He's got a lot to give. He's got a lot to offer. He loves the game. He's high energy. Works his ass off every single day. And I've said it before. I think he's a rising star. I think he'll have an opportunity one day.
With the extension for Powell, is he your quarterback of the future?
Oh, I don't know. He's got to earn that every day. Certainly, I'm pleased with what he's done over the last 6-8 months. I have a lot of confidence in him. He still has to take leaps. I mean, he won some games. We were by no means dominant when he was playing, even when he was playing well. So we've all got to take the next step and get better.
Is he on like Zach Laros, Trevor Harris, kind of where is he?
Yeah. I'm happy with him. I'm not going to put that kind of pressure on him.
The other two, is that a pretty strong battle for 3-4 there? Or is it 3?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's too early to tell. I'm just getting a feel for these guys. But I like the way they throw. They're different quarterbacks. Frosty's maybe more of a pure passer. Kevin's got some athletic ability and ability to create and get out of the field maybe more Zach-like. But yeah, I'm still really getting to know those guys.
When the two leagues down south merged, that created maybe him coming up here.
Yeah, I mean, I think it helped in a number of ways. I don't know if you'd see some of the tackle prospects that we have right now. I don't know if you'd see some of the receiver prospects and DB prospects that we do have in camp right now. So, yeah, I mean, we're happy to take them for sure.